Okay, this is Springfield John Presco, minister of the New Radio Church of God. Now I want to talk to you about remote viewing, because that's a capability I believe I had or have. It's kind of diminished lately because of all the crap that's out there. You know, it's just this heavy bullshit coming from, the right-wing evangelical cult. They've got these hidden agendas that they're trying to do to America, take it over, basically, save the white people, get rid of all the people of color, all the poor people, make everybody, kind of a richer. It's prosperity gospel, and then the poor people don't ever come back. It's this upper middle class nation of white people, and so we're going through the throes of this birthing. It's trying to come out. It's like a big bag of burlap, a greasy burlap bag of nuts and bolts. There you go. We're trying to pass this through our birth channel, our psyche channel, and it really hurts. It's a tremendous violation of the refiner psyches and spiritualities that were created upon the planet. And I believe we read this in the book of Jonah. I think the book of Jonah is filled with very interesting mysteries. And I believe that Jonah was employed by the Phoenicians, who basically had conquered Israel. They helped Solomon build the temple, Hiram, and they became the merchants for the Jews and the Egyptians. And if you notice the boats, Phoenician boats, they've got these two eyes on them, up in the prow. And they make the boat look like a fish or a whale. But these eyes do something else. They help navigate the boat. The Phoenicians really navigated around Africa, the Mediterranean, over into the Straits of Hormuz, is that right? Or over there by Iran, and anyway. They stayed off the coast. They couldn't get too close because the rocks, the dangers, so they, moved offshore as they sailed around Africa. And below deck they would have a seer, a person that was able to go into a trance, and his astral body would hover above the boat, and he would look where they're at, and every now and then they would come down and consult him. Where are we now, Jonah? How far away are we from Tarshish? Whatever. And he would say, 3 kilometers to the blah blah. He's in a trance. Of course, these sailors were, lost the name of that word, would spot storms. They could look at the conditions ahead, and if they saw a storm, the person kind of brought them out of their trance. Say, storm ahead, over there, blah, 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 you know. Okay, go back into your trance. And this is what I believe was happening with Jonah. He's down there in a trance below deck, up there where the eyes are. And he probably fell into too deep of a trance, and he fell asleep. And when they tried to wake him, he didn't wake up like he's supposed to. And they hit the storm, and they say, well, this guy fell asleep. Our transmitter guy, our seer, fell asleep, and, you know, throw him overboard. And get rid of that guy. He's almost wrecked us on the reef, the rocks, that storm. Get rid of him. He's in danger now. He's contaminated. So they throw Jonah overboard, and he gets swallowed by a whale, which has got the two eyes. And I believe the whale takes him through the Straits of Gibraltar and up to England. That's where God is steering this whale. And he spits him up on the shore. Very interesting thing about this reed plant and this gourd. And the gourd is used to make the helmet, the hat of the priest. And he's in this strange land. God bids him to go over and impart the word of God to these people in this strange land. And he goes over and starts talking to them, and they know the language. And God laughs. He says, what do you think's going on here? You know? Well, the Phoenicians were going up to England for quite a long time, to mine tin. And this is a story of that. This is a story of the ability that prophets and Jews and Phoenicians had to leave their body and go up and hover above the ships and steer them, make sure they stay on course and be able to find their way. See, and that's the way, see. And then there's this thing with the dove and Noah coming back with laurel leaf. And there's a story of John the Baptist baptizing people, Jesus, and the dove appears, comes down. So he dunks them into the water and brings them up, and they're members of the way, the way. And I've often wondered if John the Baptist was not going to have a new Exodus and take his followers to Tarshish or take them to England. Huh? Why not? Why not England? Okay, well that's all I'm going to do on this video here. Of course, we'll talk next time about who ended up in England. And this is something Herb Armstrong would just love. I wish he was alive. I think he had the ability, I know he had the ability of remote viewing. I know that he understood this, he could do this. When I hear him talk and see how fast and rapidly he moves over a spiritual landscape and how he latched onto the radio, which is remote viewing in many respects, and then he employed Radio London, and my friend Ben Tony, who's descended from the Tony family that married the Clifford family, from where Fair Rosamond came from. So this is a lost art. and I'm here to restore it. And maybe we can refine it. I felt all this coming. If you look at my blog, I talk about what's coming true in the Gideon Computer. Well, it arrived. And my neighbor called me and asked me if I'd heard about the stabbing. And I didn't want to tell anybody. I saw some violence and pictures being taken of a neighbor who was wounded and had blood in his. And so it really put me in a trance. I says, I'm not going to go to the Whitaker Bog party. I'm not going to go out. The fear of death, I could smell the blood in the air. And this was the day before the shooting in El Paso. So I've got this ability. And it's just too bad that I'm surrounded by ugly, grotesque doubters. Well, they're not doubters. They're people that really become jealous of this ability. It threatens them, their version of altered religions, so they really don't want to know that someone's got this. Well, they should have minded their own business because they could feel it. And, hands off. Let go and let God. Because we're on the rocks. Our nation, this world is on the rocks. It's in a doldrums. It's in a swamp. It's in the mud. It's in quicksand. And only the person that has the sight can lead us out of here. Okay, well, this is John Presco of a new radio church of Springfield. Be careful out there.